Jungkook's voice cut through the hall like a knife. Cancel engagement. Gas erupted across the marble ballroom. Chandeliers trembled as if even the crystals were startled. The crowd mafia leaders, politicians, and dangerous men disguised in expensive suits froze in disbelief. Jungkook never changed decisions. He only ended people who questioned them. But tonight, he had broken his own rule. His soon to be fiancée, Elara, was stiffened beside him, her smile cracked instantly. Jungkook, this isn't funny. He didn't even look at her. I don't joke. His eyes were fixed on someone else, on her. On wine, standing near the last table holding a glass she forgot how to drink from. Her brows drew together, confused, a soft gasp leaving her lips. She had no idea why the Mafia King was staring at her like she had ruined his entire world, and maybe built a new one in its place. The hall whispered her name like a rumor that could start a war. Jungkook stepped forward, his voice low but deadly clear. I'm marrying her. His finger pointed at Wine, the girl who wasn't dressed like the elite, who wasn't connected to the mafia, who wasn't part of any political alliance. The girl who should never have been on his radar. Laura stumbled back, humiliated, rage flashing in her eyes. You are choosing her, and nobody. Chunguk's jaw flexed. He turned slowly, his stare cold enough to crack bones. Say that again. Everyone knew what that meant. Lara shut her mouth instantly. The entire hall held his breath, terrified. One shock, Wine's voice finally escaped, fragile but steady. There must be some mistake. Why me? He stopped right in front of Wine. She felt the hate of his presence, the danger radiating from him like a storm about to break. He leaned close, his voice barely a whisper. You don't have a choice. A shiver skated down her spine. Fear, confusion, and something she couldn't name. The marriage happened fast. No celebration, no romance, just a signature, a cold hand, and a lifetime of uncertainty. And now she stood in his mansion, a palace built from money soaked in blood. Twine had been inside for barely 20 minutes when she heard it crash. A voice exploded against a wall down the hall. Crash. Another one. Guards sprinted past her like frightened children. His and one of his more stay back. Nobody enters, not unless they want to die. Once heart thumped in her ears, fear curled in her chest, but so did worry. Without thinking, she walked toward the noise. Jungkook was in his office, destroying everything he could get his hands on. He slammed his fist into a glass wall. It cracked under the force. Useless, all of you. His voice thundered through the room. Papers flew. Glass shattered. Two men knelt on the floor, shaking, too afraid to look up. One stepped inside. Ma'am, please, you can't. I'm going. She pushed the door open. Chunguk froze mid straight, turning slowly to see who had dared to enter his storm. When he saw her, something flickered in his eyes surprise, warning, confusion. Get out. She didn't move. Chunguk, stop, you're hurting yourself. He laughed, cold, sharp, broken. You think I cared about myself? He punched the wall again, knuckles splitting. Vine rushed forward without hesitation and grabbed his wrist. The room stopped, the car stopped, even Chunguk stopped. His breathing slowed, tension left his shoulders, the fur in his eyes dimmed against his will. He stared at her like she was the worst calm he had felt in years. Why are you here? Because you're hurting. Her voice was soft, but it struck him harder than any bullet. He pulled his hand back abruptly, not out of anger but fear. He hated vulnerability, but he hated the idea of her leaving the room even more. The mansion's west wing had always unsettled one. It was too quiet, too polished, too unlike the rest of the house that felt alive with Chung's shadows. Tonight, curiosity guided her feet. She simply wanted to find the library, but every hallway looked the same: tall, black walls, portraits of dead kings, gold lights glowing like dying stars. She didn't even notice the small metal square on the wall, pulsing red. Fear of what she could do to him, fear of how easily she had disarmed his rake. By the time she understood the danger, it was already too late. Whoosh, clang, still doors dropped from the ceiling, sealing the hallways. The lights flickered in warning. The floor trembled under her feet. Wine gasped, backing up instinctively. What's happening? Before she could run, another door slammed behind her, sealing her in a small corridor with one other person, a tall, furious shadow Jungkook. He slowly lifted his head, eyes narrowing. You have got to be kidding me. His voice carried a sharp edge, the edge of a man whose patience was already broken long before the alarm. One swallowed hard, her voice small. I didn't know. I was just looking for the library. Jungkook pressed his thumb and forefinger to his temple, exhaling through clenched teeth. Of course you were. A heavy metallic click sounded behind them, then another. The panic room's final lock engaged itself. They were trapped together. In a 4x4 reinforced steel room, Wine looked around at the seamless walls, the glowing security panel, the single overhead light humming faintly. Chinook stood at the same things but with far less calm. He hated closed spaces, he hated silence, he hated losing control, and most importantly, he hated an audience while it happened, especially her. Chunguk's anger begins to rise. He ran a hand through his dark hair, freezing like a caged predator. Someone better fix this before I burn the whole wing down. His voice boomed off the steel walls. Wine took a small step back. It's just a drill. It will end soon. He shot her a look that made her instantly regret speaking. You are trapped in a steel box with a man who has anger issues more stable than this entire mansion, and you are telling me to calm down. One blink, I didn't say calm down. Chingu gave a hollow laugh, the dangerous, humorless kind. Good because I don't. The room shrinks, minutes pass, 15, 20. Chingu's speaking got heavy, sharp. His chest rose and fell too fast. He wasn't just angry, he was trying not to panic. He unlocked his cufflinks and slammed them against the wall, the metallic echo shaking the room. Wine flinched at every strike. Chunguk, stop, you're hurting yourself. He rounded on her like a storm, turning toward a single helpless tree. Don't tell me what to do. His voice wasn't loud, but it was low, raw, almost trembling. That was worse. Once breathed. She stepped forward before she could talk herself out of it. You don't like small spaces, his jaw tense, shut up. And you don't like feeling trapped. He slammed both palms against the wall next to her, had not touching her, but close enough that he felt the heat of his anger. He leaned down, breath brushing her cheek. One more word from you, and I swear you will what? Break the wall? Hurt me? You're not going to do that. Those calm, soft words hit him harder than any lockdown alarm. Jungkook froze. Her eyes held his steady, warm, and afraid. And for the first time since they entered the panic room, Jungkook's expression cracked, not much, just enough for her to see the fear under the fury. He hated that she saw it. His breathing spiraled again. He punched the wall so hard the sound rang in her bones, pointed back with this time. She stepped forward, grabbed his wrist and with both hands and held on tight. Jungkook, stop, please. He stared at her hands on him, confused, almost offended. Why are you doing this? Because you're spiraling, and that's my problem, not yours. We are in this room together. Everything is both of ours right now. He didn't speak his chest halved. His fists remained tense beneath her fingers, but he didn't yank them away for a man who pushed away the word. The fact that he wasn't pushing her was a miracle. Slowly, painfully, Jungkook's muscles began to relax. His breathing steadied. His eyes fell shut for a single second, as if he finally let himself breathe because she was holding him in place. When he opened his eyes again, they were softer, not gentle. He didn't know gentle, but no longer violent. He took a small step back, breaking the contract first. You are tied with embarrassment. You shouldn't have touched me. Why lifted her chin? You needed someone to. He scoffed but looked away. Instead of arguing, the next word slipped out of him unintentionally like a thought he never meant to say aloud. You are infuriating. Wine smiled faintly. So are you. For the first time in his life, John Jung had no comeback. The door unlocks after 43 minutes of tension, thick enough to choke on. The steel door finally clicked open. Light flooded in. The guards rushed to enter. Jungkook simply raised a hand. Not a word. Everyone went silent immediately. Wine walked out first. Jungkook followed a step behind her, eyes fixed on her back, something unspoken and wanted sitting in his chest, something that terrified him more than the panic room ever could. The mansion felt different the next morning. Not warmer, not softer, just unsettled. Servants whispered more than usual. Guards avoided certain hallways, and one noticed how people stepped aside before Jungkook even turned the corner. But Jungkook himself, he pretended nothing had happened in the panic room. He walked past her in that hall without a glance. Shoulders stiff, jaw locked, expression scarred from steel. He wore a black suit, a darker tie, and the coldest silence she had ever seen. Wine bit her lip and followed him with her eyes. He was avoiding her, and he was terrible at it. She found him in the East Wing dining room, a long, intimidating table where only his seat ever seemed used. One approached carefully. Good morning. No response, only the click of cutlery. She tried again, gentler this time. Did you sleep well? He didn't look up. Talk too much in the morning. Wine blinked. Ouch. She sat across from the anyway, you didn't need to say it like that. If you want sugar-coated words, marry a florist. I didn't exactly choose who I married. That made him freeze for a split second, his eyes lifted dark, unreadable, looking with hers in a stare that felt like a challenge. Then he returned to his meal, ate or don't, I don't care. Her cheeks warmed with irritation. Why are you like this? Like what? Mean, the cutlery stopped. His fingertips twitched, a muscle in his jaw jumped. He hated being confronted, especially by her. You think you know something about me because we shared a box of steel balls? Don't. Once followed. I didn't say I knew you, but I saw you. His eyes sharpened instantly, a flash of vulnerability quickly buried under anger. You saw nothing. I saw a man suffocating in silence. That hit him harder than she realized. He shoved his chair back suddenly, the legs scraping against marble loud enough to startle her. Don't analyze me. I wasn't. Yes, you were. Stop. He hated it. He hated how much he needed her in moments like this. How much her presence steadied him. How much she saw through him, but he hated hurting her more. So he muttered something he never said to anyone. I'm trying. Don't push me too hard. Wine felt at her twist. I'm not pushing you. I'm staying with you. He looked at her, really looked, and for a moment he didn't seem like that untouchable mafia king. He looked like a young man desperately trying not to fall apart. He opened his mouth to say something, but then his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. His entire expression changed. Cool, sharp, little. Stay in the mansion. Don't open the door for anyone. What happened? Joe grabbed his gun from the drawer. Someone made a mistake. Now I'm going to fix it. He walked past her, but paused at the door without turning around. He sighed quietly, almost too quietly. Why, don't worry, I always come back. And then he left, coat flying behind him like a dark flame. Wine stood alone in the office, heart racing. He didn't know where he went. But she knew one thing, he didn't say it for her safety. He said it because he wanted her to wait for him. Jungkook was standing behind his desk, palms pressed to the wood, breathing hard. His knuckles were white. He was seconds away from breaking something or someone. He didn't notice wine at first, but when she did, his expression changed, not softened, not entirely, just paused like she interrupted a dangerous chemical reaction mid explosion. Why are you here? One step closer, you're angry again. No, I'm furious. There's a difference. Talk to me. He scoffed. I don't talk. Then yell, break something. I'm not scared. That was the problem. She should be scared. He moved away from the desk, running a hand through his hair. Every time you walk in, you do this. Do what? He pointed at her chest, exasperated. Whatever it is that makes me stop breaking things. One lips parted, stunned. What he said was accidentally too honest. He realized it a second too long. I turned away quickly, forgot I said anything. Wine walked closer, her voice a gentle whisper, I won't. Her love was patient, his love was silent, both were hurting.